Hey gorgeous woman, welcome back to Love Unleashed TV with Nikki Syme and the Love Unleashed podcast. So over the next 3 episodes, I'm going to be breaking down the 3 key components to creating a thriving, healthy, lasting, happy relationship. So today, part 1, we're going to be looking at communication. Now, communication is probably one of the most important parts of having a healthy relationship. And there's so many little elements to communication that we often overlook. The first one probably being that listening is actually one of the key things to being an effective communicator. When we actually listen, we seek to understand what it is that our partner is trying to say, but also how they actually word things, how they communicate, how they hear different things, so that we can actually adjust our communication to be able to speak to them in a way that's going to land for them. So often what happens too, and this was huge for me in a realization last year when my partner and I were going through some bumps in our road, and I thought that I was actually communicating with him incredibly effectively. So I would be going into situations where I would be being triggered or getting upset and saying things to him like, when you did this, or I felt like this when you did this to me. And what this would actually do was he felt criticized and judged and like he was failing, so he would completely shut down and then hear nothing else. And I get it, right? Like if he'd been speaking to me that way, I would have felt the same way. I would have got so defensive, shut down and gone, nah, I'm out. So it was this little tweak in the way that I actually communicated with him, and that taking responsibility for what I was feeling. So it was actually my trigger. So nothing that anyone else does to us, the reaction that we have to that is anyone else's responsibility but our own. So if he says something that triggers something in me that upsets me, it's still mine. So being able to then go to him and say, wow, babe, when this happened, it really brought this up for me, and it goes back to X, X, and X, and it like created this whole can of worm and opened up all of this stuff and this pain and everything. He then was able to hear what I was saying and actually receive and support me in a way that we were able to move through things together, because he didn't feel criticized, he didn't feel judged, he was open to hearing what I had to say. So really, really powerful, and just these slight little tweaks and ensuring like where are you actually showing up in your relationship and criticizing, because it's also incredibly emasculating for a man to be criticized and judged and feel like he's a failing. Essentially at the end of the day, he just wants to make you happy. His sole focus and goal in life is to make you happy. He wants to provide for you. He wants to know what your needs are so that he can support you and support you to thrive and be really, really happy. And then when we sit there and judge and criticize, we shut that down. Often unintentionally, I was emasculating Gary in ways that I didn't even realize it was happening. The communication is definitely one of the key areas, and when we can actually effectively communicate with our partners, everything else completely shifts. We finally feel seen, we finally feel heard, we finally feel understood. So another thing that you can actually do too is actually start going towards your partner with curiosity, rather than judgment and going, what the hell did you do that for? Or why don't you just understand me? Or you should just know what's going on in my head. Seeking to actually understand our partners with curiosity, because when we get to a point where we're like, I know you, your relationship is dead. We are constantly evolving human beings. We change every day. So coming from that space of curiosity towards your partner constantly, and asking, like when he says something, when he does something, being in that space of, oh babe, that's really interesting. Like for me, when that happens, this is what it means to me, but what does it actually mean to you? Can you tell me? Like I'd really love to know. When you're opening up those kind of conversations, that leads for understanding, it leads to compassion, and it leads to deeper connection and intimacy with your partner. So communication, my love, if this is something that you are really deeply struggling with, then please reach out to me. I would love to support you on this. I see so many relationships break down unnecessarily because they simply haven't learned the tools on how to communicate and relate to each other. It's not something we're taught in school, though it should be. So I'm incredibly passionate about supporting couples to move through this and to learn how to actually effectively communicate with their partners so that they can feel seen, they can feel heard, and they can feel deeply, deeply loved. I hope that you've loved this episode, my love. If you have, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and share it amongst your friends so that we can get more of these messages of love out to the people that really, really need it, and hopefully help some people remain in love. I love you. I'll see you soon.